Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome everyone to Primetime Local News. Josh Ryan filling in on the desk with Connor Chan. You switched spots. How does that make you feel right now?
Good. Someone joked that it's a demotion, but it's not. It's actually nice to be here, like always.
I'm glad you are enjoying it. We've got plenty to talk about on the show today, plenty in the local scene. The main topic for, it seems, everyone around the world has been the Avengers Endgame final MCU installment dropping this weekend. And of course the poll question is going to be, will you see that this weekend? I'm assuming you're going to see it.
Yeah, at some point. I don't know when, but I don't know if it's going to be this weekend, but it's going to be at some point.
Okay, that's going to be tough if you don't see it to keep away from spoilers. For now though, let's head out to Eric Bay. He's at Home Hardware.
Well, today we're here at Home Hardware, and we're going to be talking about, now that the weather is getting a little bit nicer, some lawn care items after that long, hard winter. We're also going to be taking a look at some seeding and stuff for your smaller garden, making that gardening go a little bit easier. And also, if you're in the mood to upgrade your barbecue, just needed for those summer parties, we're also going to be taking a look, comparing some stuff such as the stainless steel grill compared to that cast iron grill. So we're going to have all that and more coming up. But first, we're going to go back and take a look at your local news.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. Firefighters worked through the night to contain a massive grass fire near the town of Biggar. The fire started on Monday evening, and crews have been working since then to fight the flames with local firefighters, putting out hot spots today. Provincial crews will be on the scene later this afternoon to assess the size and severity. The fire remains about 60% contained. Officials but the town of Biggar say strong winds could be an issue. Close to 100 fire bans remain in effect throughout the province. The Lloydminster SPCA have humane cat traps available and information on how to set them up properly. The cat traps are humane because they are large enough for the cat to fit without getting hurt.
They just have the space for the cats, so basically what happens is the cat walks into it, and then once they get further into the back, they trigger the little pedal, and then so the door closes behind them, and so it doesn't risk anything of them, like their tails or feet or anything like that, getting caught in that trap door.
To obtain one of the traps, you have to put a $50 deposit down, and it's $2 a day when you rent the trap.
You just have to come here and fill out all your information, things like that, just so we know again who has that trap, and if they are catching anything, then we at least know when that animal might be coming in, kind of thing.
For more information, you can contact the SPCA. Lakeland College is beginning to offer Cree language and cultural classes. This is the first time these classes are being offered at Lakeland, and they will first start by teaching the language.
Classes will begin on May 6th, then they'll go on to June 19th. And basically what they'll be learning is the structure of the language, starting with root words and adding on prefixes and suffixes.
The classes also give the chance for anybody to learn more about the Cree culture.
For anyone that would like to learn a culture or like to know their own culture, the Cree culture specifically, then this would be a great way to get into understand your identity as an Indigenous person, because spirituality is a big part of the language.
For more information on the classes and how to register, go to lakelandcollege.ca. Well, one of the year's biggest movies comes out tonight, and May Cinema is getting ready for the movie event of the year. Theaters around the world are gearing up for the epic conclusion of the Avengers franchise. May Cinema is expecting this to be the biggest week of the year. Both theaters 1 and 2 will be open to accommodate the expected crowds for the showings. The theater has always seen a great turnout for the big blockbuster movies.
Lloydminster responds quite well. We don't have quite the populations of your Edmontons and Calgarys, where you got 1 million people to pick from, but for our size and population, we always do quite well.
Doors will be opening at 5:15 for the evening showings and 10:30 for the matinee showings. A total of 200 tickets will be available for the total available showtimes, but there is a chance that some of the shows won't completely sell out.
When we open the doors, I'm not expecting every single show to sell out. your 9 o'clocks and your 9 o'clock shows, they'll be a little bit easier to get into. If you're coming to like a 7 o'clock or the 2:30 bank, or the 6 o'clock or the 2:30-ish bank, those are going to be the busier ones, so you'll want to arrive a little bit early. But, as long as you're showing up 20 minutes before, there shouldn't be a problem getting a seat.
Avengers Endgame is projected to be one of the highest grossing movies of all time. A new movie centered around Inuit youth in a small community with a passion for lacrosse and a dark side many people don't see. Our Brett Holden has more on the movie and the connection it has to the Lakeland area.
Ricky Marty Patakin was standing by another frozen shore 3 years ago when he was shooting his first feature film, The Grizzlies, a true story about an Inuit community that is plagued by abuse, alcoholism, and teen suicide. And Marty Patakin says getting casted came as a surprise.
We went in and met Miranda, did the audition. Not long after that, she called our agent, and our agent told me that I got casted.
They don't want me going to a white man's school.
He has to hunt. His family is starving.
Though he was shocked, Marty Patakin says he was happy for the company he had during shooting and how easy it was to be in front of the camera.
I spent a lot of time with my grandparents in Onion Lake, and Adam is also a good hunter. It wasn't really much acting for me. It was kind of like being myself most of the time, and so that's what Miranda liked about me, is I just fit the character so well.
The Grizzlies movie covers lots of sensitive subjects, which is one thing that drew Marty Patakin to the film.
Well, a lot of communities don't talk about what's going on behind closed doors, like suicide, abuse, like drugs, alcohol, sexual, and but the Grizzlies, they shine a lot. They shine the light on suicide, and it's like you can overcome it in a movie when you watch it. It's very touching, very sad, moving, uplifting.
And those subjects are some that Marty Patakin is familiar with as well.
He did have two siblings who have attempted suicide. And that's why I say that suicide knows no race. It doesn't matter who you are. It could strike anybody.
All of us have made sacrifices to be here. We've been dealing with this stuff for years and we're still here.
The film was released on April 19th in 100 Canadian cities, including Edmonton. From Primetime Local News, I'm Brett Holden.
Tullabee Lake was host to a stringed workshop with musicians of all skill levels jamming out. The one-day fiddle and guitar workshop out on the lake included 4 professional instructors who taught the 28 participants for a few hours. The night finished with a concert put on by the instructors and a family dance. And now we're going to send over to Eric Bay, who's on location.
Back here at Home Hardware once again, and now I'm joined by Tracy Lepp, talking about some gardening trends, and you have some tools here behind us just to make gardening in smaller spaces easier. What do we have here today?
So one of my favorite tools in the garden is this baby spade. It's great for digging in really hard compacted clay soils, especially when you want to plant some perennials or small shrubs. Also just a little mini garden fork for getting out weeds without actually having to rip up your whole bed. And another thing that makes gardening much easier is a really good pair of gloves. It protects your hands. You can really get in there and work the soil.
And we also, you see, we have some seeds behind us for gardening. What are you kind of looking at this year, just to make your garden go better?
Big trend is container gardening. Lots of us don't have big spaces, so some great new seeds from West Coast is what's called a parsley pea. So this can be harvested when it's about 6 inches tall, just for the greens. You don't have to wait for the plant to actually make peas to eat it. Really tasty. Another one is the mascot bush bean, where it just grows to 12 inches tall, so it doesn't need to be staked. So really great for just containers on your patio.
And you also already had a package there in your other hand, and that's more for actually your lawn, right?
Yeah, so just to follow up, sometimes in the spring we've got some areas that just don't want to grow grass. And this micro clover is a new kind of clover that actually gets finer and shorter every time you mow it. So, and it also won't go to bloom. So you could have an entire lawn of this micro clover. You'd only have to mow it 3 or 4 times a year, and your neighbors wouldn't even know that it's not grass.
All right, perfect. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll have a little bit more coming back from here at Home Hardware, just about those spring gardening trends. But first, we're going to throw it back into the studio.
Thanks very much, Eric. Obviously, everyone's talking about Endgame. Quite the exciting weekend, and considering that it's going to be a little cooler than expected, not a bad time to go to the cinema. Just to take a quick look, 10 degrees right now in the border city, but a little bit of cloud cover, and it has been very windy this afternoon. 31 kilometers when we last looked at it. It's been around 25, 26 all day, some gusts getting into the range of 40, 45 kilometers. We saw a couple of those just even downtown earlier today. The records, as you can see, plus 24 back in 1999, minus 10 back in 2002. That would have been an ugly April. However, it was a great 2002 for movies, particularly superhero movies. Spider-Man, the success of that movie largely saved the genre and in part led to the new Avengers film that you are seeing this weekend. Now, satellite and radar, as you can see here, largely clear skies, some heavy cloud cover around Marwayne, and some scattered cloud cover throughout the area, but nothing overbearing, and that should remain the norm for the next couple of hours and into tomorrow as well. As you can see here, temperatures dying down overnight into the low minus temperatures, but right back up into the plus category at about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and it'll be around 7 or 8 degrees through most of the afternoon, peaking at about plus 9 there, as you can see. Current temperatures here, Cold Lake and Meadow Lake both sitting at plus 9. North Battleford is at plus 10 as well. You have 10 over in Whitecourt, Edson, and Edmonton, 12 as well in Saskatoon. Now, tomorrow, as we said, plus 9 the high. We'll drop down to minus 3 for the low, plus 8 Saturday with another low of minus 3. And then I'm not sure if those are tears of all the fans who are expecting to see their characters die this weekend, whether it's Avengers or Game of Thrones. Plus 7 will be the high, and minus 4 is the low. And we'll go to commercial now. Be right back on Primetime Local News.
Joanne Marshall decided to take a family side business and become a full-fledged entrepreneur, expanding Simple Farmer into a company that has now launched its own accessory line. Eric Bay has more in this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Simple Farmer was created as a creative outlet for Joanne Marshall, which has turned into a rewarding business.
I've been able to push myself past places I ever thought I could do, physically, mentally, and creatively. And the most challenging thing was to be that entrepreneur that wears every hat. You just seem like the tasks are endless, and some days the stress just feels like it's overwhelming, and then the next day you're back onto the high of this is totally worth it and I'm living the dream.
The pop-up shop has expanded into a full store that has launched 2 Western lines that were on the runway at Western Canadian Fashion Week in Edmonton.
It was surreal, to be honest. The opportunities I've gotten just by starting this little creative outlet, this little business, have blown me away with how lucky I have been to experience how much I've experienced in such a short period of time. But seeing my purse go down the runway, I mean, the other lines are fantastic, and I picked them because I know they're fantastic, but to do something that I created and then watch it go down.
Simple Farmer is moving to startup Lloydminster, and with the move, Marshall wants to focus on workshops.
So I'll still do the team building, we'll still do workshops, creative kind of energy things such as pop-ups, things that, I'd like to launch products, we'll do lots of stuff like that there. And then for our bigger events, we're going to team up with Rolling Green. We have one in April, a plant night, and so there'll be the launch of our slush line, we'll have appetizers, and then we're going to plant succulents and terrariums.
You can find more about Simple Farmer at their website. And that's this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Business Bio, brought to you by BioClean. Call the Bio Team, 1-833-246-8326. The Disaster Specialists.
And now we're going to take a look at your stock market prices for today.
We restore more than just property. We restore hope. When disaster strikes, call the one that can make it right. First General Services, your property restoration experts.
Well, mark the dates as yet another Ag Tech event is on this summer, and in this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow learns about AgSmart.
I am very excited about AgSmart.
AgriTrade and Olds College have gotten together to produce AgSmart, which will be a brand new type of demonstration show for farmers, August 13th and 14th in Olds.
The ag landscape is changing with the technology as a new tech forum is rolling out this summer. Rob Sake is inviting you to circle your calendar.
And it really is a sensory and technology and data type of show. It's going to be very interesting and a brand new way for farmers to experience how this technology might make a difference on their operations.
Farmers can look forward to getting hands-on with the technology.
Technologies such as soil moisture sensors or weather station integration, how to create a connectivity on the farm, how do you build a Wi-Fi mesh around the farm? How do you connect these devices?
Sake says the breakout sessions will allow farmers to get training on using the technology on their farms, but there's the issue of feeling daunted by the rapid changes in ag tech.
When you look at grain sensor technology, grain bin monitors, when you look at soil sensor technology, when you look at agricultural data platforms, there are many choices. And so a farmer needs to be able to go somewhere where he can look at and examine and talk to people who have implemented these choices.
Apart from being able to choose which aspect of the 2 days you really want to check out, Sake has a final teaser.
I'm giving the keynote address on August the 13th, and if all goes well, we'll be unveiling my brand new book that evening right here in Olds.
AgSmart is a must.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Center. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Center with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
That's your Ag News. Sports is next, but first, let's take a look at your ag prices.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Well, turning it over to sports now. After a memorable rookie campaign, outrider Chloe Struder is excited to hit the track this spring. She's encouraged by how much she's learned from other riders during the 2018 season.
What to do, what not to do, where to turn, where to stand, when coming down the home stretch to stay wide so your wagons have right away. There's just lots of things to keep in mind, and there's still a whole bunch to learn.
This year, Struder has bigger individual goals.
Gather more rides to aim for most improved outrider. So if I can have little stepping stones every year, it would help build to what would come to be.
The CPCA season kicks off in North Battleford May 31st. Lloydminster Comprehensive High School will have two Barons competing at the 2019 Football Canada Cup this July. Running back Matthew Morin will make his debut, while quarterback Nick Amundrud returns to the national stage after losing narrowly in last year's championship. Coming off a provincial championship with the Barons, Amundrud hopes his experience last year will make the difference this summer.
I feel like it gives me an advantage because I know what the atmosphere is like. So I'll go out there, I'll be a leader, and hopefully win gold this time.
The Football Canada Cup runs July 5th to 13th in Kingston, Ontario. And now let's send it over to Eric Bay, who's at Home Hardware.
Once again, back here at Home Hardware, and now I'm joined by Christy Van Staden, and we're talking a little bit now about lawn care after a long winter. So, what are some do's and don'ts of lawn care after a long winter?
After the winter, you want to kind of see what condition your lawn is in. If there's a lot of thatch between the soil and the grass, that's a good indication that you're going to need to dethatch. So basically, thatching is any organic debris and stuff that has accumulated and is basically clogging up any of the water, nutrients, air, and stuff from getting to the soil and the roots. So you can either do it one of two ways. You can get our dethatching rake and just go over your lawn and dethatch it, or you can get a blade for your mower and just go over your grass and dethatch it as well. Another thing also is after the snow and stuff has been on the soil and the grass for a long time, it'll compact it. So what you can do is you can rent or even just use a gardening pitchfork to create holes into the soil, and you can rent them aerator at a couple different places, and basically it just punctures the ground and it brings up little plugs, like finger-sized plugs, and it's just going to help get more air, moisture, nutrients down to the soil, and it's going to help you get longer roots, which will be good. In the spring, you want to fertilize as well. You can use a 4-in-1 fertilizer that we carry. It has the compost, grass seed fertilizer, and Iron Plus in it. It's going to help also if it's a really thinned out lawn and whatnot. So you want to have lots of nutrients going into your lawn. Also, another thing is if you want to be more natural in your approach to fertilizing and stuff, you can just use a mulching blade on your mower, which will basically chop up any of the grass really, really fine, so you're not bagging it, and it's just gonna stay on the grass and it's gonna add that nutrients, except not going towards fertilizer and what so.
And with that aeration you were talking there earlier, is there a certain point you should be waiting after the snow melts, or is it kind of just once the snow is gone, you can kind of do it whenever you want?
You can do it right after the snow melts. Obviously, your ground has to be a little bit softer because when you're plugging it in, you want to bring out these plugs and whatnot from the soil.
All right, perfect. Thanks once again for joining us. We'll have a little bit more coming from here at Home Hardware about that spring lawn care and maintenance. But first, we're going to send it back into the studio.
Thanks again, Eric. Yeah, spring is right around the corner, even though it's going to feel a little bit cooler over the next 2 days. As you can see behind me, satellite and radar showing relatively clear skies and a relatively slow descent into the minus temperatures. Overnight around 11 p.m. we'll get into that -1, -2 territory, only dropping to -3 before it bounces it back pretty quickly tomorrow morning. As you can see, by the time we get to noon, it's already +6, expecting a high of +9 tomorrow. As you can see here, current temperatures were at +10 in Vermilion, Vegreville, and over in Edmonton. You go farther north in Lac La Biche and Bonnyville, we're sitting at +9. Also +10 in Provost, 12 in Mackland, and when you go out east into Saskatchewan, Isle of Cross is sitting at only +7. Elsewhere, a lot of +9s, Green Lake, Meadow Lake, St. Walburg, Maidstone, all sitting at that +9 temperature there. North Battleford sitting at +10. When we look at tomorrow's temperatures, relatively similar, a little bit warmer in a couple of areas like St. Walburg and Meadow Lake. They'll both be at +11. Cold Lake, Pierceland also at that +1 temperature there, as is in Vegreville. Edmonton only getting to +9 tomorrow. Vermilion and Wainwright also expecting to get to that temperature, while it should be +10 out in Lac La Biche. Now looking again at the current and then future temperatures in North Battleford, +10 with a little bit of sunlight, but as you can see there is plenty of aggressive gusts of wind coming through northwest the direction at 37 kilometers an hour as an average. That is some aggressive wind indeed. -3 the overnight low, 11 tomorrow with around 7 to 8 kilometers averaging over the course of the day. Again, largely from the northwest. Over in Cold Lake, where it's +9, we'll drop to -5, but we'll get right back up to +11 tomorrow, and the wind will calm down quite a bit. Right now, 24-kilometer winds west-northwest in Cold Lake, only about 9 to 10 kilometers tomorrow. Over here in Lloydminster, we're at +10, again dropping down to -3, then back up to +9 tomorrow. The wind also taking a similar dip, so around 9-10 kilometers coming from the northeast. Right now, it's a northwesterly wind that's again 30+ kilometers, and some of those gusts have been very bad indeed. We won't have to deal with that overnight or to the same degree tomorrow. obviously there. Now +8 on Saturday with a low of -3 and a little more cloud cover. And then as mentioned before, it should be a sad, sad day for fans of many of the beloved Avengers characters like Tony Stark and Captain America. We don't know yet if they survive, but if you go to see Endgame this weekend, you'll find out. I don't have high hopes for them, unfortunately. Also, of course, Game of Thrones, plenty of death expected out there as well. So some of your favorite fantasy characters might not fare well. +7 on Monday and on Tuesday. Then things start to warm up, get a little brighter, a little more optimistic for the following week at +10 on Wednesday and +11 on Thursday with a low of 0. That'll be the warmest low of the week. And we'll have more after the break. That's your 7-day forecast.
Back here once again at Home Hardware. Now I'm joined by Sean Burton, where we're talking about picking barbecues for this summer. So we have this big one right behind me here, has 2 different grills, the cast iron and the stainless steel. So what's the difference between the two?
The stainless steel is it's easier to clean, it's easier to maintain. It's your preference. The cast iron will hold the heat better. You can reverse this one here and put your meat on it. It cooks on its own juices, and it also reduces flare-ups. It depends on what you want to do there.
All right, perfect. And then we're also talking, there's a couple different ways to actually get the heat. There's liquid propane and the natural gas. So what is the difference between those two?
Liquid propane actually burns hotter. Natural gas is convenient. If you got a hookup on your home, you don't have to be refilling your tanks all the time. It's convenient that way. The preference depends on.
And as we can see here on this barbecue as well, it also has the side burner. So what's kind of the convenience from that?
The side burner is convenient. You don't have to bring any of the smells in your house. You can do all your cooking outside. If you're frying up onions or anything, you can do it all outside. And that way you don't have to do any cooking inside at all.
And this one here is fairly fancy as well, has the rotisserie spit. How does that kind of work, and what can you exactly use that on?
The rotisserie is great for doing chicken. If you're roasting a chicken on a slow burn, it does on your, again, outside, and it does a good job.
All right, perfect. Thanks once again for joining us. That's your little look at barbecues for this summer. We're going to have a little bit more coming up from right here at Home Hardware, but first we'll send it back into the studio.
Welcome back. So, question of the day is whether or not you're going to see Avengers this weekend. I'm stunned, actually, by the results we've seen on the poll, because that's obviously not accurate to the greater area. We're already seeing a lineup outside to see Avengers at the theater, but 58% of you said you will not see Avengers this weekend on Facebook, and a smaller sample size from a more recent poll on Twitter, 78% said they will not see Avengers this weekend.
I could see it not this weekend just because maybe they don't want to deal with crowds. You know, like that's a big thing. People don't like crowds, and I'm kind of one of them, but I mean, I might just go anyways just because I want to see it.
You'd think you'd be worried about spoilers, though. I mean, some people are going as far as to wear headphones when they're in line outside the movie, just so someone walking out who doesn't pull a producer Blake from a story we heard today going, "This is what happens," as you drive by, walk outside the theater.
We have those noise-canceling headphones just over there, easily.
I mean, there's a part of me that thought about wearing it, but I'll look like too much of a chump, I think, if I did that. So let's go to everyone's favorite segment. As we finally give up the superhero talk for a few seconds. Pet of the day, starting with Milo. That was submitted by Denise. Milo's clearly excited about something. Buster. I don't know what's going on with Sierra in the background, but there's Buster. We have Fluffy, submitted by Tiffany. Very pretty cat, though. Not the fluffiest cat I've ever seen. Nim. That's a neat name for a dog, submitted by Riga. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Lincoln. Thank you, Adrian, for that submission to this Pet of the Day contest. Remember, anytime you submit your picture of your pet, you could win a free gift card from PetPat.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Joined here today with Kim Crockett from B. Fisher, here to talk about their upcoming Color Run. Tell me a little bit about how the Color Run started.
Yeah, the Color Run, it's an initiative we started up 6 years ago now, and the idea, it's an opportunity for us not only to do a little bit of fundraising for our center and for the clients that we work with, but also it's an opportunity just to create some awareness of what their needs are and just get our clientele and the Friends of the Bee Fisher out into the community.
And tell me a little bit about what Bee Fisher does and and how they are involved in the community.
Sure. So Bee Fisher, our focus is primarily working with individuals who have developmental disabilities, and we provide a wide variety of services to them, things like job skills, life skill coaching. We provide housing for them as well, and we try to just help them get integrated into the community, and sometimes that helps just break down some of the barriers that they might have with the public themselves, maybe not quite sure how to connect with or how to just operate with some of our clientele. And by getting them out into the community, it's just a chance to break down those barriers, and they get a chance to just rub shoulders and say, hey, it's just another person no different than me.
And for people who have never been to the Color Run or don't even know what it is, can you tell me about what people can expect when they sign up or they come to participate?
Sure. Well, first of all, expect a really big crowd. And what we look forward to with the Color Run is it's about a 5-kilometer run or a walk, depending on how you want to do that, navigate through the trails at Bud Miller Park. And every so often there's going to be some stations with people with all sorts of color, and they're going to be blasting the people that are going around with the color. And at the end of the finish line, it should look like a pretty big rainbow of people, and there'll be a bit of a celebration at the end and some food and just a really good time.
And how long has the Color Run been happening?
This is the 6th year we've been operating the Color Run, and a little bit of a change this year. We're going to run it on a Friday evening, Friday, May the 24th. And just hoping that the change gives a chance for people to come out that might not otherwise have attended, and still gives them a whole weekend. They can enjoy the rest of the weekend themselves.
And what are the proceeds going towards? I know it's going back into Bee Fisher, but what exactly will it be going to?
So this year, all the proceeds are going to be officially kickstarting a campaign. We're trying to raise $250,000 towards improving our network of group homes in Lloydminster. And this will be some of that seed money that helps get that initiative going.
And for people who may not know, how can they get involved with the Color Run?
Okay, a couple different ways. If they want to participate in the run itself, they can come into the Bee Fisher Center and pick up a registration form. They can go online and register online at 5k.beefisher.com. Or if they simply want to volunteer and help out, and we do have a need for volunteers as well, they can simply call our Bee Fisher Center office, and I'll be happy to chat with them. We'll find them a spot, and that number is 780-875-3633.
And if people can't make it to the run, but they still want to get involved or donate, how can they do so?
Just to become a friend of the Bee Fisher, certainly what we operate is something called the Bee Fisher Foundation, and it functions really to support the work of the Bee Fisher Center, and simply any donation made payable to the Bee Fisher Foundation will be allocated back towards this same project.
And really quickly before we wrap up, if anyone wants any more information on Bee Fisher or the Color Run itself, how can they do that?
Certainly, they can look into our website, beefisher.com. They can certainly phone the center themselves, the number I mentioned, give myself or Darcy Pollard, our CEO, any one of us would be happy to just explain a little bit more about the work that we do in the community.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Good, thank you.
You've got a chance to see some really talented dancers right here in the city of Lloydminster all weekend long. Dancers from Lloydminster and surrounding area, plus some talent from right across Alberta and Saskatchewan, is going to be at the Vic Juba Community Theatre for the Dancing on the Border Festival. Things get underway tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and they continue Saturday and Sunday as well. So lots of opportunity to see all this great talent, and they're also still looking for a few volunteers to help out at the theatre as well. For more details, go online, vicjubatheatre.ca. Coming up on Saturday, you've got a chance to restock that bookshelf. So whether you're looking for a book that might help you with your personal development, or maybe you want something to read that's just for a whole lot of fun, we'll swing by the library as they host their spring book sale Saturday starting at 10 a.m. and all the proceeds are going to go to the Lloydminster Public Library Foundation. We want you to win some new music. You've got a chance to win a copy of Halsey's latest album, Hopeless Fountain Kingdom. There's some great songs on here, including Now or Never, Bad at Love, and Alone. It's really easy for you to win. If you'd like a copy, all you have to do is email your name and daytime phone number to tv-contest@stingray.com. We want to say thanks to John at Universal Music Canada for setting us up with the music. Get your tickets now for the Rotary Club's annual Lobster Fest. You get to enjoy delicious food plus a performance by the Dirt Rich Band. Get your tickets for the event now. It's coming up on Saturday, May the 4th. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Klegus, and that's what's happening.
I'm joined here today with Dr. Danielle Gannett from Violet Eyes, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about summer and how to protect your eyes better from the sun, and maybe some misconceptions that people may have when going out in the sun with or without sunglasses. So can you just tell me a little bit about what damages the sun can do to your eyes if they're not protected?
Absolutely. So the reason we recommend people always wear sunglasses outside all year round, but especially in the summertime when the UV rays are a little bit stronger, is because it can actually prevent from damage inside the eye that you can't see happening. Things like cataracts, where the lens inside your eye gets cloudy, happens to everyone eventually with more birthdays, but more UV exposure leads to those cataracts progressing sooner. UV light is also really damaging to inside the eye, at the back of the eye, a part called the macula. It can increase the risk of something called macular degeneration. Also, sunlight on the front surface of your eyes can actually affect the white parts. Some people get these little growths that can grow onto the front surface of your eye, or just become these little red, pink, bumpy, irritated portions that can actually grow the more UV and sun and wind exposure they get. And then also it can prevent sun cancer, or skin cancer, pardon me, from over your eyelid skin.
And so what can people do, especially if they have prescription glasses, like especially for like driving or reading, what can they do to still be able to protect their eyes, but obviously be able to see?
There are a few different things I recommend for my patients that need sunglasses, but they also need a prescription. If you wear contacts, you can wear normal 100% UV protection sunglasses, or that they'll say UV 400 on the lenses over top of your contacts. You can get prescription sunglasses. Almost all prescriptions are available in Sunglass. And then you could also get something called transition lenses, where your lenses are mostly clear inside, and then when you go out into bright sunlight, they do darken. Or you can get what's called clip-ons that can either come with your frame or custom made to your glasses that fit over top of your glasses.
And what are some of the misconceptions that people may believe or not really know about protecting your eyes from the sun?
I find the most important one is that you need them all year round. People kind of associate sunglasses with summertime, and that's just not true. Even on a really, really cloudy day, UV rays still get through the clouds. Even if your eyes aren't sensitive to bright lights, you still need sunglasses. Even if you're darker pigmented or darker irises, if you have brown eyes, you still need sunglasses. Like I said, even if it doesn't bother you. Another one of the big misconceptions, I think, is about kids. Actually, 80% approximately of your lifetime UV exposure actually happens under the age of 18, because kids are always outside. They're outside in the summer, they're outside for recess, and a lot of those kids aren't wearing sunglasses. Kids' lenses inside their eye are the clearest they'll ever be, so it's really, really important that we protect them.
And for like going on trips and, you know, like you said, the overcast, and it may not seem sunny, like going out onto the lake. People don't normally associate, like, you know, you have to wear sunglasses even if it's cloudy. So what would you say to those people that think, oh, that's fine, like especially with the sun rays going down onto the water, how can that damage your eyes?
Yeah, so the water or in the snow or any sort of reflective surface can increase the damage and the strength of the UV rays that are entering your eye. So it's really important, especially if you're going to be on water, that you're wearing sunglasses. The best type of lenses to be wearing if you're on water are actually polarized lenses. They don't change the amount of UV going through to your eyes, but they cut down on about 50% of the reflections off the surface, so it cuts down on glare a lot. Another thing is, if it is going to be a cloudy day, it doesn't matter how dark your sunglasses are. I find a lot of people don't like wearing really, really dark sunglasses because they don't feel they need it, or they like a lighter tint. That's fine. The darkness of the glasses doesn't impact how much UV is getting through, as long as, like I said before, you're getting UV 400 or 100% UV sunglasses.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
If they have any questions, they can contact you how?
I actually have an Instagram where I post little fun facts about eye health and optometry. It's OptoDocG, OptoDocG. Or you can follow us on Facebook at Violet Eyes Optometry, or you can contact our clinic.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.